Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Black Friday special. It's been a while since I've been able to get back online and do a reading here, but here we are. Normally I was always wanting to label the Black Friday special as kind of an enlightenment and a positive reading, but essentially that doesn't always show up to be the case with this reading. But in particular, this reading by itself is pretty good compared to the last ones. A lot of forward momentum and good positive energy. But there is going to be some surprises and some shocks and some death rebirth. The Phoenix card has shown up, which tells us it's going to be a transformation or a transition in life or cycles within a life. And this particular reading, it's going to be more than one cycle it's talking about. So we started out the reading with the card called Precious Time. And I will show you this card. So that's the card. So time is of the essence. So precious time means using your time wisely. So that also includes self-care time. So sometimes when we use our time wisely, it's always the mindset we have to work, and play and rest and recharge time, rejuvenation time tends to be put on the back burner. So that is certainly not the case. We have to have a harmonious balance. But time is of the essence. It is about precious time. And timing of events or timing of dates or engagements, or there's going to be a certain timing of communication coming in. So time is really in the focus right now. So this card particularly reads Precious Time. The Fairy of Time wants you to experience every moment fully and make the most of your precious time. Be mindful not to waste others' time either. Okay, and this particular reading, this kind of gives an undertone or a flavor that you might be in a particular spot or a cycle in life or doing something that you don't particularly care for. You might be doing it out of obligation or doing it under duress or doing under direction of somebody else or somebody kind of forcing you to push their interest onto you, which is not your interest. It always gives me the feel that this particular reading, you're doing something, but it's not from your heart and your soul. It's not from your authentic self. You're doing something because of something else or because of somebody else, okay? And so again, if that's the case, this would tell you that, you know what, there's only so much time in this lifetime. Don't blow it. Don't waste it. So remember, you count too in this world. You are important. And the things that you have interest in or, warms your heart or sparks that soul, that counts too. You know what? You were born to be you. You were born and gifted to give to society of the world with your interests, right? Remember, you are you for a reason. And the person you're with, they are themselves for a reason. You are not the same person. And there's got to be some healthy boundaries instated or implemented there. And if you were supposed to have the same interest as your spouse, your partner, whoever you're with, you would have been born that person. And that is certainly not the case. Okay. So use your time wisely. Remember, you only have so much time and energy in this particular lifetime. Do what you love. Do what's of interest to you. And remember, everybody's got a gift or something to offer to the world, the public, or society in some way, shape, or form. And don't be living your life because of another or someone else living their life through you. That's just not acceptable. Okay. So the next card we have is Flourish. Okay, so when you finally put your foot down, make up your mind, chase what, warms your soul, warms your heart, sparks your soul, chase and, your hopes, dreams, and whatever your interests are, that at that particular time is when you're going to flourish in life. And sometimes that takes a while to reach or have the courage or the endurance or the stamina to be able to stand your ground and say, no, I'm not doing this. That's your dream, your hope, your whatever. You do that. I'm going to do what interests me. And there's nothing wrong with meeting in the middle for cooperation, but don't allow someone to take advantage of you, your time, and everything else that goes with it. Don't allow someone else to steal your interest or your light or your spark out of your soul. You are you for a reason. You are here for a reason on this planet. Okay, so flourish. The lotus flower fairy tells you to learn from experiences and shed your inner light on any unclear areas of your life or those of others. Okay, so flourishing, and every time we see a lotus flower, that is always, lotuses are always below that muddy, murky water level. And every time we see a lotus, it pushes through that muddy, murky layer. And when it reaches the top, it flowers into something absolutely beautiful. So this kind of tells me that you might have been put on the back burner, you might have been kept in the dark, or made to feel small. And so it's your time to, float to the top. It's your time to be seen. It's your time to glow. It's your time for a glow up. It's your time to bloom and blossom into whatever you're interested in. Again, whatever you're chasing, this really gives me an indication of suppressed interest. Like, whatever you were wanting to do has always been put on the back burner, or maybe somebody suppressing you or stopping you from your growth or expanding your horizons in life, stopping you from growth in any way, shape, or form, or stopping you from chasing your interest, your dreams. So this tells me this is involved with somebody else. So this could be like a partner, husband, wife, relationship, friendship, but it's being influenced from somebody else, by somebody else, being held down, being made to feel small or live in a small way, like not expanding, not being the full you to your full capability. Whatever that means to you. This particular reading, like I said, can go a few different ways. So this can be, being your authentic you, transforming into you, or transitioning into the true authentic you. But this can also be career or job linked, but this can also involve relationships. And so we also have the lawyer cards showing up here. And so this is the keeper of justice, law, cases, defense, or advisor. And we see the scales of justice. So that tells me right there and then there could be law or legal matters at hand, but we need balance, we need fairness, we need justice. Now that can be actually in the legal world, or that can just be justice, fairness, balance, harmony within yourself, finding that steady balance within, or you finding a balance with somebody else that you're involved within. Now this also, so that can, you can also be seeking legal advice for something. And if this happens to be relationship oriented, the first thing when I see this particular spread, that could be involving separation or in the works of divorce. And so that's not always a bad thing when it comes to that. Most time it's necessary. Okay, so now where this kind of takes a bit of a twist is when we have this influencer card. So trendsetter, content creator, follower, online influence. And so this tells me that this has got something to do with that spark, that inner soul calling, or something that warms at heart, that interest, something that's got to do with the public eye, being seen on a public platform, maybe in a more public realm, or being known by society. Stepping up, blossoming, and growing into your glow up period, or your glow up subject, topic matter, circumstance. So like, for example, if you were thinking about being like a tarot reader or an astrologer, or opening up a social media platform, starting something like that, I can really see that, unfolding in this particular spread. And again, if you wanted to go kind of into like a more negative, this could be somebody trying to influence you all the time, your whole life. You want to do this, but it'll be say, oh, you don't want to do that, you can't do that, or I won't allow you to do that. So it's an influencer, meaning, more in the public eye in a positive light, but you could have somebody in your area or in your life or in a relationship in particular that's trying to influence you and keep you small, talk you down, not let you spread your wings and grow as a person. So again, influencer positive, influencer negative. So again, this could be someone who is a negative influence in your life, and you might have come to the end of the line, or the end of the rope, or the end of that circuit with this person, and you might be thinking about leaving, separation, or actually filing for divorce, because there's something bigger and better on your horizon. And everybody wants to expand and grow in life, but for some reason you're being caged in, restricted, or limited, or held back for whatever reason. Now we have the Phoenix card. So when we see the Phoenix card, that's about death, rebirth, transformation, or regeneration. So we know this is like the burning down of the old. So we burn down the old ways, the old structures, those kind of things. And all you're left with is something, usually that's experience and wisdom, and maybe, a few things, but you burn down till all the garbage is gone and you start over from the ground up, but from a positive light. Out with the old, you keep the good, and you start building the new. So the Phoenix card is a new phase, rekindle, renew, transformation, growth, and a changed mind. Okay, so looking at life differently. And so like this has got like a few different ways this can go. So it can be relationship oriented where something's coming to a close or an end, or you're thinking about it. This can be job, career, chasing your interest, your dreams, because, and saying to hell with whoever you're with. They're trying to stop you, inhibit you, clip your wings from growing in life, and you've had enough of that, and put that cycle to an end. And this can also be the growth and jumping into that new cycle. Now that could actually involve a relationship, but for the most part, I think it's job, career, or interest. And so this might actually involve writing, or, social media platforms, or writing, publishing, editing, being an influencer to the world in any way, shape, or form. So that could be like online, that could be anything in written content, publishing books or cards, or just being an online reader, astrologer, anything that's going to portray an influence in the public eye in any way, shape, or form. Okay. And so again, lightning. So this is really kind of interesting how these cards flow. They're a high impact, but for dramatic change in cycles in life. So when we have the lightning card, sudden change, shocking news, surprise, epiphany, upheaval, transformation. So we basically got two transformation, shock, surprise, upheaval back to back. So this could be one ginormous change in life, a surprise cycle coming to an end, to a new cycle lifting off. And so because they're side by side, that can be two separate ones or one big one. So for the most part, this can be multiple cycles ending and multiple new cycles being created or starting. So, but this can actually be a shock. I don't think it's going to be a shock to you, but the person, whoever you're with, is going to be a shock to them, because they might be kind of spoiled, and they might have been used to getting their own way by being manipulating, or even to the point of being abusive for control tactics, until you've had enough and you say that's enough of this. So that, putting your foot down and getting out of this particular cycle, that might come as a shock to the person you're involved with. And that's okay, because everything that tends to be negative needs to come to an end. Remember, all those kind of maybe negative cycles, they're always brought to us to bring us wisdom and experience and a learning curve. That's what life's all about, right? We learn and we move on. There are certain things that are positive, certain things that are negative, certain things that are unacceptable and inexcusable behavioral patterns or actions, okay? And so, again, this might come as a shock or a surprise, not only to the person you're with or whoever you're involved with. You could be changing jobs, careers too. So that could be like, in the office, boss, a surprise to the boss too. That could be something like that. But when we have the moon card, this is definitely follow your instinct, follow your intuition, follow your gut. And this is also about being very, very connected to the divine. So universal connection, cosmic connection, and dream state really talks to me in this card. And this can actually involve a cancer placement. Not necessarily, it's not always specific, but that's possible. The moon is the Cancer card. Or it could be Pisces. That's possible too. But this particular card can really hover around the house and the home. So that really kind of tells me this would be more of a personal relationship within a house or a home, or behind closed doors, things going on behind closed doors. The moon rules the fourth house, and the fourth house is about the house, the home, the family, the real estate area. Things going on behind closed doors, and nobody can see. So anytime we see the moon card show up, it's unseen, it's dark, it's watery, right? We always see either the crab or the lobster, and it's always mixed with a dog and a wolf. So that's instinctive. Okay, and this can be bubbling behind closed doors. And so we do have the Ace of Wands. And so this is hot, it's fiery, it's passionate, but this can also involve tempers and angry and violence. And so that's a possibility. Not only that because it came up, this can be passion, hard work, drive, lift up, but it can be, like I said, angry, harsh, violence, or angry tempers in behind closed doors, because these two cards came out together. But this is also the passionate new cycle coming in life. So again, that plays kind of like a two-story line. So that passionate idea, you're birthing, thinking about doing, and you might be doing that in silence as well. So it's possible you might be getting ready to leave a relationship behind because it's inhibiting, it's controlling. And then you have this dream that you're thinking about, this new cycle, this new start, something that's got passion, it's got drive, it's got willpower, it's creative, it's artistic. And again, you're keeping that close to your heart too. So there can be things going on below the surface, like two different areas, right, that people are not seeing. So you might not have ever told anybody, not family, not friends. But if this happens to be any sort of negative circumstance or negative relationship, or the possibility of abusive relationship, make sure you do tell somebody, that a trusted somebody, a trusted family member, a trusted friend, what's going on. Those are the kind of things you do not want to keep secret, because the people who are the abuser tend to bank on no one's going to say, and that's what keeps the cycle of abuse going. Okay. And so we have the crown, and this is honor, respect will come to you. Okay, so whatever you're doing. So again, if this happens to be an ending of a relationship, you know what? Just remember, sometimes we have to be prepared to leave people in our lives behind, because they will no longer fit, they will no longer resonate. But that actually opens up the doors for new people to come in, and your decisions will be respected. So there is going to be a reason and a purpose that this is going on, and people will know and will understand. So honor, respect will come to you. And if this happens to be a new job skill, chasing your dream, your hopes, anything that resonates with your heart, that kind of lights that soul spark, again, in time, whatever you're working on as a project or a hobby or a new side hustle, whatever that is, a new way of even making a living. Again, when you get up and running, this has got the crown. So that's very, very high integrity, high honor and respect that comes to you for whatever you're going to be birthing into the new world. So in this particular case, it's a complete transition in a really, really, really beautiful way, but it takes a backbone, it takes strength, it takes courage, it takes endurance, and a whole lot of self-confidence, and whole lot of feeling secure in your own boots to be able to do this process. And for some of you, it's going to be two things at the same time. So you could be potentially leaving a relationship behind and having a new job, a new career, or maybe starting your own business, or your entrepreneurial business, or something you're thinking of, a new creative endeavor or idea. Okay, so again, if that's the case, you can have like more than one cycle going on at once. Okay, and so we have wisdom and we have professional assistance. Again, this could also be seeking legal advice for your new job or your new business, your new career, or maybe just, maybe it's written projects. But, not only you might be seeking legal assistance for leaving a relationship, filing for a divorce or separation, something like that, but you also might be talking to a lawyer about the legal ramifications or legal areas of a certain career, or maybe a certain project, or maybe a certain writing something or other, or the legal parameters of maybe being online as a professional influencer or talk or something like that. So again, that's a two-way, two different stories, but possibly happening at the same time. So when we have the wisdom card, you've been here before and you know what to do, yet you fear disappointing others. The wise choice may not be the popular choice, but choose for the highest good in the situation. And remember, people pleasing is not a positive thing. Everybody else is pleased in life but yourself, and you eventually sell your soul, and you sell yourself off to that original person of you is eventually gone, and that's not a good thing. And you know what? It's not a popularity contest. Doing what's right for you. You're not asking anybody's permission, forgiveness, or approval to do what's good for you, right? And so again, over time, the older we get, hopefully, wisdom and experience comes with everything that we have lived through in our life, right? And you know what? Someone else doesn't have to like it. If they're in a relationship that's abusive or you're not happy, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody to leave. If it's that good of a place, feel free to hand them the keys and tell them to take your spot. Not a big deal, right? And professional assistance. Like I said, professional assistance. Also, you might be asking for professional assistance, or actually somebody might be coming to talk to you about professional assistance. When we look at these two cards, they're kind of looking at each other. This could be three people involved. We have two people facing each other. So this tells me there's at least two people involved in a relationship. And this might actually be seeking assistance from the divine or the higher power, universe, or cosmos. Maybe listening to your dream state. And so this can also be doing research or investigation, reading books on whatever you're working on, or you might even be writing a book, writing something, literature of some sort. And again, if it's, you might be, like I said, seeking, it keeps on going back to seeking professional legal assistance for something. So it could be just direction or legal parameters for whatever you're wanting to work on or get into, like a job or a career or a business. But again, this is very, very relationship oriented for legal assistance or legal advice in there. So if we look at this, we look at all the characters, we have quite a few people involved. There's like 3 women, well, 4 women and 1, 2, 3, 2 men, 3 men, and 4 women. That's interesting. Interesting. So that could be actually in a job setting, or it could be just relationships, like personal relationships to friendships or people and friendships being involved here going on. But anyway, again, more than 2 people involved here. That's a possibility. That won't be for everybody. That's possible. And again, wisdom, and with your wisdom and experience, and you might be offering somebody professional advice. So you might actually be helping somebody in this particular situation. This might not be about you, but it could be kind of like a reverse reading. Somebody might come to you and this is my story. This is what's going on. What do I do? You've been here before. What did you do? I'm looking for helpful hints, advice. What can I do? And so don't be surprised if somebody gives you a phone call, a text, or knocks on your door and says, this is what I got going on. Can you help me? All right. Okay. So are you lying to yourself or others? Are you trying to convince yourself or others? Be honest with yourself and be your authentic self. Again, this says it's got people pleasing written all over this. Somebody is doing something for somebody else or under the influence because they're either limited, restricted, or forced to do something they don't want to do. So, apply that accordingly. That's a different storyline for everybody, but somebody is wasting precious time in their whole life doing something or in something or taking part in something that they don't like, and the longer it goes on, they probably hate. And this is like basically people pleasing, doing something to please others, and the longer that goes on, the more displeased you are, the more upset to eventually it's going to turn into anger and resentment. So chances are you're probably sitting in that anger and resentment particular point right now, because the longer it goes on, the worse it gets. Okay. And so again, this is kind of the wake up call. It's time to be authentic to yourself, because again, that people pleasing, that's just a very, very, very bad habit to get into, because that can even lead to the point of like super stress, anger, resentment, depression again. So this is not living your true authentic you. This is not living your true authentic life. And remember, when you step out of it and doing it into something you want to do, you will flourish, and time is of the essence. Timing is everything here. And when you decide to make that step, these multiple steps, I'm pretty sure this is going to be more than one thing. You have met the manifestation card. Manifestation, be very honest and clear about what you wish to manifest in your life. Now, write it down on paper. Manifestation, step 1. Okay, so this particular card, this is something you've probably wanted to do for a very, very, very long time, but for whatever reason, you've been influenced or forced not to grow and expand in life. So this would be like somebody crushing your dreams or keeping you small or making you feel less than, or very talking down to you, condescending, right? This is not acceptable behavior by anybody. When you're with somebody, you should flow together. You should always want to see that partner do good, do better, help them out, not suppress them, right? That becomes into a power control struggle. Okay, so we have live, operate, conduct yourself with pure love, energy, or vibration. It always comes back in tenfold. Again, this is time to be good to you. Live your true, authentic life, not living your life for somebody else or letting someone else live them lives through you, okay? This is highly transformative energy here, big time. We have Phoenix, we have lightning, everything under the sun here just kind of lives and breathes and spells transformation all over this particular reading. It's not easy. It is definitely a challenge to make all these big changes in life, but when you do, it really turns and transforms and manifests into something quite lovely. Again, this probably would have had a lot of hardship in this, because every time we see that lotus, we know it come from a muddy, mucky, murky, dark place. But it is your time for that glow up. It is that time for you to push through that murky, muddy, dark place into something where it creates a glow up for you. Becoming independent, standing on your own two feet, having courage, having endurance, having self-confidence, and being very, very secure in your boots and moving forward. And don't look back, right? The only time we should look back is when we're looking back to see how far we've actually come in life. And that's quite a beautiful thing, okay? So I'm going to look into this crystal. This is a clear crystal quartz. And we're just going to put this over here. This has got to do with something with sunset. So when I see that particular thing in this particular crystal, this could be somebody who spends a lot of time outdoors or looking like off a patio or out a backyard at a sunset. Somebody who has a love of sunsets. And remember, every sunset is never the same and it changes like by the second. And so I think that's quite influential. So this is someone who was very, very influenced or really enjoys sunlight, sunsets, and sees so much different stuff within each state of the day: sunlight, sunsets, sunrises. This is somebody who likes to be outdoors. Maybe not necessarily like being outdoors, but likes looking outside at the sun and all the sunlight, feeling the warm, light rays. And so I also get the impression that whoever this person is involved with this would want to spend a lot of time walking outdoors in the sunlight, in the fresh air. This is probably a grounding technique or a stress reliever for this person. So when I get that message coming to me, this is like when it gets to be too much inside this house or this home, out the door they would go probably for a walk or a run or maybe even a bike ride, but decompression time. So take it as it lands. So this can be walking in the morning, this can be walking in the afternoon, or walking in the evening, but always a focus on the sun rays, the sunsets, the sunrises. There's a superpower or some sort of supercharge within that energy for this person, whoever's involved with this. And there is always light at the end of the tunnel. That just came through. Okay, so I'm going to leave the crystal at that. And I'm going to move into the coffee cup. So this particular coffee cup, when I did this is a redo in something, and this is sticky. So this is a sticky situation because the cup was just totally stuck to the bottom, which is kind of weird. I don't think it's ever happened before. This particular cup, there's going to have to be a rerun or a redo or a restructuring of plans. When I went to do this, the coffee grounds, there was lots, and they just ended up going all over the place, and nothing seemed to stick. And so when I see nothing seemed to stick, so this could be plans you might have tried to do something, but it just didn't work. So just prepare to do something a couple times over, restructure it to perfect it to make the plan work. Okay. And when I see this cup, there's actually an eyeball looking at me, and I can see the shape of an eyeball, like it's perfectly shaped if you can imagine in a cup. If you look at this, right here, there's an eye, and you can see the shape of it. So this is somebody keeping an eye on you, watching you. And so if you are trying to keep plans under wraps, be very cautious on who you tell. Somebody is asking questions, somebody is looking around, and somebody's poking around to see what you're up to. So this could be the person you're involved with, maybe not, but you're being watched. So be very cautious what you post online on the social media. Be very cautious who you tell what to. This kind of really gives me a little bit of a funny feeling where it's very, very unstable in behind closed doors. So you might be making plans to do something, but you don't want to let the cat out of the bag, right? All right. And when I see this, it reminds me of like a predatory bird, like an eagle. Again, every time I see an eagle, that could be, again, somebody watching, you're trying to hover over you, trying to control you, keep you small, keep you scared. But by this token of that also reminds me of law and order, lawyers, courtrooms, judges, court orders, anything to do with legal matters on paper. And it reminds me of a bat too. So when I see this, again, it's kind of got eagle wings, but it's also kind of got bat wings. And so when I see a bat always represents endings of cycles. Okay. And again, there's just a lot of garbage involved here. It gets heavily coated. And not very often do I ever see coffee grounds where they're just so thick on the walls. Like this has probably been going on for a lot of years, whatever's going on. It's a lot of grunge and a lot of built up stuff that's never been cleaned or cleansed out. And when I see this, there could be pets involved, cats or dogs. Again, that eye is just hovering around there. So weird how these can just take the perfect shape of an eye. And again, watching your plans or watching things closely, details is of the essence. And again, your heart is just not in it. So the heart not in it, that can be your heart is not in this relationship anymore, but your heart is just not in this cycle or this work or this interest. Whatever you're doing, you don't want to do it anymore. Your heart was not there, probably never was there. But you might be doing somebody a favor, been doing it, and pretty soon, eventually, you can start getting taken advantage of. And I think you've kind of realized that. It's a heavy home, very heavy. It's dark. It's built up. It's grungy. And I see a face of somebody laughing. It's like after you get out of this, there's finally something to laugh about. It almost looks like a clown face. And then now I see a face of somebody who's owly and very shocking. This person's got a big mouth and mean eyes. And this can be bantering and bickering back and forth. There's something to laugh at after the fact, but it's not funny right now. When I see that particular face, it's angry eyes and shouting and screaming and somebody who's probably belligerent. And it's looking at you. In this particular card, it's like there's control issues going on here. And again, it's something that's gone sideways. And the number 3 and the number 4 might be of the essence, or it could be even 34. And crossing paths, okay? There's crossing paths with somebody or something. And when I seen this is like really, really gaudy. This is something that's got very, very weighed down over the years. I'm going to leave it at that, okay? So this is quite a transformative energy. And this is something you might have been feeling trapped or stuck in something, or confined. Or you know what? When I see precious time, whoever you're with might actually be having you on a time frame. If you're gone somewhere, they might be timing you to make sure you're back in 20 minutes, to make sure you're back in 45 minutes. And something that comes to mind is the odometer on a car or a truck or something. Again, being watched, okay? So I'm going to leave the reading at that, but this is very transformational. I kind of get the energy that there's something been going on behind closed doors, a plan to get out of this. And again, there's going to be a shock and a surprise when this comes around. So this is probably going to be shocking to the public, to your family, to your friends. They might not have seen this coming. And, it's just time to blow this hot dog stand. I'm done with this. Okay, but it's going to be a little tricky getting out. I can see that because I can see that angry face in the coffee cup. And somebody who kind of lives in a non-reality world, like power control is kind of probably through the roof. And I kind of get the feeling that this person probably controls the finances to control you. Okay, time is of the essence. Timing, perfect place, perfect time, perfect plan. Again, have plan A, B, C, or D ready, because there's going to be a few plans that are going to have to be a little sprucing up or having to adjust them or restructure them in order to move forward. So that's all I want to say with this. But again, you will be very, very happy when this transformation takes place. And do remember, your honor and your respect will come to you over time. And just remember, you don't need anybody's permission, forgiveness, or approval to live your true, authentic life and be happy, right? That's one of the simplest things in life where it sounds like a very simple word, but sometimes it's really hard to attain or achieve that thing we would call actually true, authentic happiness, right? Okay, so that will complete the Black Friday special. And just know that this has got some very, very, very good energy flourishing and, into a new job or a new interest. And it's total transformation, death of the old into the new, and about shock and surprise. And again, this can be actually shocking news that might come to you, or somebody might be contacting you out of the blue, or this can be completely shocking news to the public or society or the world or something like that. Again, that every time I see that lightning, it always reminds me, in particular right now, is Uranus and Gemini, so that can be unexpected communication. Okay. All right. So that will close today's reading of the Black Friday special. So do subscribe to the channel, click like, subscribe, and share. And if you're interested, I have other YouTube channels, Midnight Bisous Tarot, which is this one right here, Seventh Heaven Junk Drawer, Soup to Nuts Astrology, plus Health and Anatomy. And I have a couple Facebook groups, Midnight Bisous Tarot and Oracle, Midnight Bisous C'est la Vie Astrology, Jump into Its Rhythm. That's my astrology group on Facebook. And I do have an Etsy shop, Midnight Bisous Tarot and Oracle, and I do have an eBay shop, Midnight Bisous Tarot, Oracle, and Astrology. So until we talk again, stay happy, stay healthy, take care of yourself, and take care of each other. Bye for now.